What's up, guys? So today I wanted to film this video. I've actually wanted to film this video for a while now. I've been out of PT school for a little bit over a month, and it's given me enough time to reflect on what I've been doing this last 3 years and kind of where I want to go with physical therapy and with hybrid and with my life in general. So I thought this would be a good time to film this video and talk about all of those things, and at the same time answer some questions that you guys might have about PT school, the interview process, admissions, and all that good stuff. So a couple of days ago I posted on my Instagram if you guys had any questions about it, and I received a ton of those. But before we get to those, I'll give you a little tour inside of UM and talk a little bit about my experience at the University of Miami Physical Therapy program. For those of you who don't know, I'm originally from Caracas, Venezuela. I was born and raised there until the time I was about 17, which is when I came here to the States initially with a soccer scholarship. I started studying business and marketing, but I didn't really like it. It wasn't fulfilling for me at all, and my grades weren't that great because I wasn't fully committed to studying or to the profession or to the degree. So that's when I started bouncing between schools, trying to find what I really like to do, what I was really passionate about, and what I saw myself doing in the future. So I switched my majors to pre-med. From there I switched again to nursing school and eventually landed in the School of Education studying exercise physiology or kinesiology, which I really loved. But once I graduated from my undergrad, I realized that there weren't that many job opportunities available for exercise physiologists. So I found myself between the wall and the sword, or however you guys say it here in America, and just looking for some other career paths that allowed me to do what I was really passionate about. And that for me is something related in healthcare, something related to fitness and sports, something that allows me to interact with other people, to teach, and to be active. So that was my criteria for looking for a profession. After talking to a bunch of people, mentors, professors, my parents, friends, I found out about physical therapy, and I loved everything that it entailed, and it took me to where I am now. B asks, what kind of extracurriculars did you do in undergrad that helped you with admissions? Asking as a current sophomore in undergrad. So that is a really great question, because that is exactly what you need to be doing. You have to be proactive and start thinking in undergrad of what are the things that I can do now that will help me get into graduate school, especially a competitive program like PT school where the acceptance rate is so low. The best thing you can do is talk to your professors, the ones that you have good relationships with, and find out what they are working in, especially if you have any professors working at labs or working on different research projects. Ask for them of ways that you can get involved in that, obviously without them paying you, just as a volunteer. What I did, I worked at a research lab, that is the exercise physiology research lab here at the University of Miami, and I was able to participate in data collection, analysis of different studies that gave me a really good insight into what you need to be doing, how does research work, what do you need to do, and different things that you can talk about in your interview process. Any advice and tips for those who took time off from college trying to get into DPT school? Personally, I took about a year off from undergrad to grad school, and I did that because I hadn't taken any of the prereq classes that I needed to get into PT school. So that was a pretty overwhelming time, because there are several classes that you need to have in order to get into PT school. Some schools even ask for advanced math classes like stats and calculus 1, calculus 2. So I had to take all of those classes in that period of time. So the best thing that you can do is don't get flustered. Try not to freak out, not to get too overwhelmed by all the things that you need to do. Just take that time and work on the things that you need to work on, and take the classes that you need to take, and do the things you need to do to make your application the most appealing that you can. And welcome to your second home. Common questions that I got was, what kind of things can you do to boost your probability of getting into physical therapy school? That's a really, really great question, because it is in your control how many things you want to do and how much effort you want to put into getting in school, besides just the basic things that most people do, which is just the application, the essays, you're having your GRE and your GPA and that kind of stuff. There are other things that you can do to make yourself seem more appealing for the admissions office. So I'll share with you some of the things that I did and some of the things that I learned through being in PT school that are beneficial. So people ask me all the time if there's a minimum GRE and a minimum GPA that you need to have in order to get in. And that really is going to vary between institutions. So my best recommendation would be to familiarize yourself with the schools that you're applying to make sure that you have the minimum GRE and GPA to get in, or for your application to be even considered and even read and even open. As far as other things that you can do, and this is something that I did, was you need to apply to several schools, let's say 5, 6, 7, or 8. But pick 1 or 2 schools that you're absolutely gonna pour all of your heart into the application. So one thing that I did, the 2 schools that I wanted to get into were the University of Miami and Northwestern in Chicago. And what I did was I called the admissions committee and I set up an appointment with them, with the person in charge of admissions. And I flew to Chicago, and obviously I came here to Miami. I met with them, I told them who I was, why I wanted to go to PT school. I asked them to give me a tour of campus. I asked them to introduce me to several students just so I could get a feel of the school that I was going to. I don't know if you guys know, but not all PT schools require an interview. So this is a really good way, if the school doesn't have an interview, for you to go and get a feel for the school that you're gonna go to and the students. So I met with a few students. I also met a few faculty professors. I got a chance to talk to them, and this is really beneficial because it allows the school to put a face to the name, and it allows you to have a better chance of your file being open, of your application being read, and for them to know who you are beyond that piece of paper. Another thing that they're looking for is people with different backgrounds. So don't feel discouraged if you did your undergrad in music, or you did your undergrad in finance or in math, or in something completely unrelated to PT school. Physical therapy schools actually like that. They like diversity. As long as you have a passion for physical therapy and you have good reasons for getting into, where you come from is not that important. So don't feel discouraged by that. And also, on the same token, when you're doing your observation hours, that is another prerequisite that you need in order to get to PT school. You need to have a certain amount of observation hours, which varies between institutions. I believe for UM was somewhere around 100 hours. I would recommend for you to do it in different settings, because that will allow you to have a unique view and a different view than most applicants that apply to PT school. Most people that come here are fitness enthusiasts, people who want to work with athletes, people who like being active, like helping others. I've heard that story a million times, and so has the person that's going to be interviewing, or the person that's going to be reading your essay. So find ways that you can make your application more unique. And that's why I say go and experience neuro settings, pediatrics, geriatrics, some other setting that's different from sports that will make your application a little bit different. What do you think should be the biggest deciding factor in choosing which school to do a DPT at? For me personally, one of the biggest deciding factors was location. I came here for my undergrad and I absolutely loved it, so I really wanted to stay. I don't know if that'll be the case for most of you. Most of you guys are gonna be looking at national rankings, so seeing how the school ranks For me, I wanted to go to a top 10 university. I think at that time, the University of Miami was ranked number 8. You also want to look at exam pass rates. After you're done with physical therapy school, you have to take your license exam. Ideally, you want to go to a school that prepares you to take that exam really well so that you can pass it the first time. It's the second thing to look at. And finally, you want to look at the teaching philosophy in your school. So find out a little bit more about the professors that are teaching at that school, what kind of research are they doing, what their expertise is, and if you think that you can develop meaningful relationships with those professors that will help you in the future. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. So this gym is actually in the same building where all my physical therapy school classes were. And this was so clutch because I was able to even do my 2-a-days when I was doing Olympic weightlifting here at noon during my lunch break, and then go back to class and then finish up and do my second session at the end of the day. NCSF is owned by one of my undergrad professors, Brian Biagioli. He started this years and years ago, and it's the only reason why I was able to do this, just by developing relationships with my professors from undergrad. So this was clutch. So, was it impossible to have a social life? How did you maintain a business while being in school? How many hours on average did you study weekly? For some of you, it might seem like I'm someone who is really great at time management and I'm able to do all these things and juggle between school and training and traveling. The truth is I'm not that great at time management, but I take a different approach. What I do is I usually prioritize whatever is coming up as the main thing that I need to focus on. So for example, if I have a midterm coming up or midterm weeks coming up, I just understand that PT school will take the front seat and everything else that I'm doing will take the back seat, at least for that week or the weeks leading to that week. And then once that's over, I rearrange and I start focusing a little bit more on training or on my business, and I let PT school fall to the back seat a little bit more. So I think the most important thing, or what helped me the most, was being flexible and realizing that you just need to go with the flow and change your habits and your routine. I think one of the most important things that you need to do while you're in PT school is being your own patient and learning how to talk to other people. Because at the end of the day, physical therapy is a social practice. You're gonna have to be constantly interacting with other people. Another thing that you should be doing is do your own research. Physical therapy school is great at teaching you fundamentals. You're gonna learn so much about the human body inside and out, but there's a piece missing that connects research with practice, and that's where your responsibility comes in. You need to be listening to podcasts, opening different blogs, different articles of people that you like, reading different books about topics that you're interested in. And that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any other questions about PT school, feel free to drop them down below. I'll do my best to answer to each one of you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next episode. Am I good at YouTube yet?